Why spend 4 years of your life and thousands of dollars when the world's knowledge is available in your pocket? Having a library in your pocket doesn't make you a librarian. A degree isn't about what you know, it's about how you think. And remember, while information is free, wisdom is earned. So we're going to talk today about the value of having a formal degree, even though you can search for all kinds of things online. An organized curriculum, such as you would have in a degree seeking situation, is going to force you to engage with difficult foundational concepts, maybe subjects that you're not interested in, or you would just skip if you were doing the self-teaching plan. Lots of these concepts and ideas are going to challenge you, or that you're just not going to agree with them. This is a good thing. Disagreement and challenge forces you to think. It's kind of like exercise for your brain. You have to defend your position. You have to gather facts. Sometimes it could even make you change your mind. At the very least, you're going to be learning more facts. Sometimes learning about things that we're not especially interested in is just part of being a well-rounded, informed person. I have a refrigerator magnet. It looks like one of those 1950s magazine advertisements, but the person is saying, "At last, I have successfully completed another day without ever having to use algebra." And it's funny, lots of people feel the same, but even if you don't have to use the actual algebra subject matter, and let's be honest, a lot of us don't have to on a daily basis, the discipline of completing the class taught you something. It's like exercise for the brain, as I said before, think of it stretching the neurons. I had a radiology instructor for my graduate school, and he said when students were complaining about why do we have to learn all of this stuff, has nothing to do with our course of study. He said, you need to know this much to be able to practice this much. And he's right. Another important use for formal education is getting that actual credential, the degree or the certificate. These can open doors in the future, and you're probably aware of that if you've looked at any of the job listings. They usually have some sort of degree or credential required. Lots of people work in fields very successfully that are not directly connected to their field of study, but the hiring manager, when they evaluate their application package, could see that the earned credential means that you applied yourself in an organized fashion, got through the required curriculum successfully. You chose to go to class and do your work during that time period, a time when you could have been doing other things. You did this because you had a goal and a purpose, and it shows because you earned that degree or certificate. Critical thinking is also very important. We have increasing amounts of misinformation, ever more readily available. Education gives us the ability to evaluate that information. And this is often more important than the information itself. We have some examples of that. The first one deals with what happened during the pandemic. So it wasn't really a lack of information at that time, it was an excess of it, so much of which was incorrect. Doing your own research often means that people are looking around for other folks to agree with them and confirm their viewpoint. The information at the time of the pandemic, it was changing very often. Now, some of this is because it was a new pathogen, and as the research progressed, we were learning things that contradicted what we thought before. That's normal and appropriate when we have new information that we're still researching. Some of it was bad actors propagating false narratives. As more investigations are undertaken, sometimes we have information that contradicts previous knowledge. An appropriate scholarly approach is we integrate that new information and continue investigating. There were also people taking advantage of that environment to sow panic and to profit inappropriately. Some people were hoarding supplies. Remember the great toilet paper shortages? Companies rushing to market products that were not safe or useful. I'm thinking specifically those masks with the little plastic flappy bit for the valve. Yes, they're easier to breathe, but that valve actually negates the whole safety aspect of the mask. Hand sanitizers that were produced that had methanol instead of the safer, proper options of ethanol or isopropanol. So, because it was a safety thing, this hand sanitizer, people were rushing to buy it without realizing the toxicity of that chemical. A science degree doesn't just teach you, for example, biology or chemistry, or it teaches you how to read a peer-reviewed paper, understanding sample sizes, and spotting the difference between correlation and causation. You can evaluate the information more effectively, and that's a very great value of the educational process. Without that framework, research can just end up being, oh, I found a whole bunch of other sites that said the same thing that I already agreed with, so therefore, that's confirmation bias. Formal education teaches information literacy, the ability to verify sources, understand peer reviews, and spot logical fallacies. So let's look at a graphic about critical decision making. This is a critical thinking checklist that you can use to evaluate information that you come across. Look at the source, not just the headline. There's a big difference in information from a peer-reviewed journal or some kind of random blog. If you can't find the original data, it's probably just an opinion. Look for the counter argument. If the article confidently asserts that there is no other side, that's probably propaganda. Appropriate scientific thought process requires looking at what could be wrong. And if all else fails, follow the money. Who funded it? If the study says chocolate cures everything, what a great idea if it was true. If the study says chocolate cures everything, it was paid for by a candy company, you do the math. That sounds a little suspicious. So this is a great way to evaluate information. Our second example is the legal risk of representing yourself. So sometimes people who think that they did a little internet search and they know all of the information choose to represent themselves in court. They find a statute online that seems to support their case, and they confidently go to court expecting a gotcha moment. The attorney, an educated legal scholar, knows how you introduce a fact is often more important than the fact itself. So this is a classic example of information versus procedure. You found the law online, but law school teaches you precedent, rules of evidence, rhetorical strategy. And so just finding a fact doesn't mean that you're going to be able to use it correctly. You're not just learning facts, you're learning the operating system of a field. So searching the internet gives you the files. Degree is a high-level filter and navigation system. So we use the degree as our navigation system. The person who knows how to filter, verify, and apply the data, the one with the critical thinking skills, is the one that truly holds the power. I remember when I was attending graduation ceremony of a good friend, he was getting a doctorate from a very prominent science institution. And when the naming of the graduates was completed, the school official said, "Welcome to the ranks of the scholars." I will never forget that. What you get from your education is not merely a degree, it's important skills that you'll be able to use in everything you do. Think about what's one topic that you Googled that turned out to be much deeper than you expected. Put the answer in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, so I will see you on my next video.